Hey, what's going on, guys? Kevin the Tech Ninja here, and I had the opportunity to switch to the Model X for a week thanks to Tesla. My Model 3 is a 2019 Stealth Performance. I only have around 6,000 miles on it because I don't really drive that much, but I am really in love with this car. The only thing I don't care for is the size of the car. I'm used to something much bigger, and I would love to have an SUV in the first place, but the price kept me away. This is the 2020 long-range Model X Plus in Midnight Silver Metallic. It has black and white interior with dark ash wood decor with the 6-seat interior setup. It has premium upgrade package 20-inch wheels with autopilot, and the sticker for this car is $95,000, which is over 30 grand more than my Model 3. You can almost buy a standard range Tesla Model 3 for that price difference as well. Now, visually speaking, the Model X is a head turner. From the Falcon doors to the automatic liftgate, I mean, even the driver door opens automatically when you approach the car. You can also lower and raise the suspension right from the screen, and it can do it automatically depending on the type of terrain you're on. The key fob looks like a little toy car. Click it twice, it unlocks, and if you click the trunk of the fob, it opens the trunk, and the same for the front. This car screams luxury while the Model 3 screams simplicity. From its rocker handles on the door, its manual liftgate on the trunk, and also the front. It also has a minimal design in the interior. Now for the key, you have a hotel card, which I think is great. It's only 25 bucks and you can stash it in your wallet and use your wallet to open your car. Now, one note about the Falcon wing doors is that when it rains, all the rain that has accumulated on the door pours into the car when it opens up, as there is a gap when the doors go up. Also, if it's raining when the doors go up, you're gonna get rained on as well. And when you're in some parking structures, some of them are pretty low, the doors can't open up all the way. They do have sensors to stop it from hitting ceilings, but depending on where the ceiling is in relation to the sensor, it still may hit. Look, if I'm paying nearly 100 grand for this car, it needs to turn heads. And I need all the bells and whistles to justify spending that much money, and I think the Model X does that. It may not be super practical in all ways, like I talked about the doors, but it makes you feel like your money was spent well. Now inside the Model X, it has a 17-inch vertical display and a traditional 100% digital cluster behind the wheel. On the Model 3, the screen is to the right of the steering wheel. When I first bought the Model 3, I didn't think I would like having all my information on the center screen, but after a while I got used to it. It actually felt weird looking at a traditional cluster on the X. Actually, I remembered when I kept my hands at 12 when I used to drive my old car, I would need to move my arm over to even see the speed. Now, obviously, having more room is nicer for me as a person who's 6'2". Being able to sort of lean back and drive and relax is really nice. On the 3, I'm a bit more cramped than I would like to be, but I wouldn't say I'm uncomfortable. The infotainment system is pretty much the same on both cars, but I do dig the vertical screen a bit more. It's slightly tilted towards the driver, which makes it easier to see. The maps are much bigger, so if you're scrolling around the map trying to find out where you need to go next, it's really good. And also, you're not sharing that screen with other information. A lot of that is put on the dash behind the steering wheel, like your speed and also the traffic visualization. On the contrary, the Model 3 screen is smaller and it does have more information, but I do feel I'm well informed while driving as everything is in one spot. So let's talk about driving. Look, the Model S is an SUV, right? Once I make the suspension, put it on high, I go on a freeway and the steering is set to comfortable. This thing feels like a boat. It just floats on the road, and obviously it's an electric car, it's fast, it feels really, really nice, and it does feel luxurious. Although handling isn't super sharp in this mode, on freeways you really don't need that, and I'll say it just made freeways a lot nicer to drive on, even on crappy Michigan roads. Now, having the option to switch suspension is obviously a luxury feature, but nonetheless, I just love it. You know, it could be one of my favorite features on the Model X. Now, when I'm in the city and I have some curvy and winding roads, I like to lower it and really get into those corners and really make some very, very aggressive turns. And it comes out really good. I'm actually impressed with the overall handling. Now, the Model 3 is overall more sporty and it has amazing handling, even in comfort mode. I take corners harder in this car than I've had in any other car with some pretty decent speed behind it. Even after a year, driving this car still is fun, especially when you tap on that accelerator. Now, my Model 3 is a performance version and the Model X is not a performance version, so I really don't want to compare acceleration between the two, but I will say on the Model 3, since it's a smaller car, acceleration is going to feel even stronger than it would on the Model X. Both cars are extremely fast and have no issues merging on freeways or speeding up to switch lanes. Both of those cars feel really, really good. Summit features and also autopilot works the same on both cars. By the Model X having two screens, there's sometimes redundant information. I won't dive into that too much into this video, but it's something that I will save for a different video. Now, I think I could stick to one screen like on the Model 3 because everything's in one spot. I don't have to look in two different places. Now, for both cars, ideally, I would love to have the speed and a heads-up display on my windshield. If you drive most newer cars that are in this price range, you're going to have a heads-up display, and as you're driving, you can see the navigation and also see your speed without taking your eyes off the road. Overall, my week with the Model X was nice. That car is definitely a head turner. I've never driven anything as expensive as a Model X. And it feels like with this car, every little thing just feels luxurious. I mean, just little things here and there that makes the car feel really premium. The interior uses nice materials, the stitching looks really good, and it's a nice curvy design with ambient lighting. I mean, it's just a really great experience just even sitting in the car. I will say I have seen how Tesla has matured with the Model 3, especially in the software. Everything just being in one spot and no redundancies, and everything feels much more driver focused. Feels like there's less menus to go through and the controls on the steering wheel just make sense. I feel like the Model X has done enough to make it feel like it's worth the price tag with all the tech packed into it, the luxury packed into it, and also the size. It's an SUV. I love SUVs and I actually want to get one. It just makes life easier with my son and also my sporting equipment that I always put in the back. But the Model X pricing puts it out of range for me. It just becomes a little bit more expensive. And actually driving the Model X makes me want to try the Model Y, as I think that is a natural blend between the 3 and the X, and you kind of get a Y right there. I really want to try the Model Y, and I think that might be a better car for me, as you get the same great features of the Model 3, but on a larger platform. Now, only driving the car for a week, I didn't take any trips, but I did find that the range on the car was acceptable. My car is rated for 310 miles, but real world driving, I found myself getting around 270, and I'll say the drop off with the Model X is pretty much the same as well. So the Model X is a 100 kilowatt battery, which in turns makes it a little bit longer to charge at home or on the superchargers. But all in all, if you go to a newer supercharger, from 0 to 80% in around 30 minutes, which is really good for most people. As you're doing a long road trip, you're gonna stop and get something to eat, and I don't think that is a huge deal. But still, for me, when I take road trips, I do prefer a gas car. Just makes a lot more sense and less stops along the way. At the end of the day, if I had the opportunity to switch between the two cars, if Tesla said, hey, trade in your Model 3 for Model X right now, no money down, no nothing, would you do it today? And for me, I would actually say yes. The extra size for me is just enough to justify switching to the Model X. But when you factor in pricing, that's something I can't do. Anyways, guys, those were my thoughts after having the Tesla Model X for about a week. If you have any questions, please leave them down below, and also stay tuned. I have a couple more videos coming out. I'm gonna dive into the tech, and also gonna give you guys a review from a non-car guy, just a tech guy talking about the car. Anyways, guys, Kevin the Tech Ninja here. Have a great day. I'll catch you guys later. Take care.